Blessed be the holy and undivided Trinity, now and forevermore. Amen. Peace be with you, my brothers and sisters. Welcome, as always, to episode number 9 of Tenconi Talks, live and direct from Tenconi Towers. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. As ever, we will be updating you on the news and events from UKIP HQ. And also with regards to what's been going on for the past week or so. We are very, very privileged to have our lead spokes, Father Calvin Robinson, join us from America again. A massive thank you to you, Father. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, it's coming towards the end of Advent now. We'll be in Christmas time very soon. There is snow on the ground here in Grand Rapids, but the sun has come out, so the temperature has risen. So I'm questioning now: will the snow be able to stick around for another week? Will we have a white Christmas here? That's what's on my mind. How is it?
I
How are
like
things
a
in
white
Tenconi
Christmas.
Towers?
Yeah, things are good in Tenconi Towers. Things are good. First of all, I like a white Christmas. Do you like a white Christmas as well?
I love it. Yeah. So there are many downfalls of living in a state that gets this cold, and we're talking, minus temperatures throughout the winter. But one of the pros is that you get a lot of beautiful snow, and you get to potentially have a white Christmas. I don't know if I'd be able to. I don't know if I'd like it in a hot climate for Christmas. There's something about Christmas that has to be wintry and like it's more festive, isn't it?
I think so. Huge fan. I personally, my favorite season is autumn and winter,
Mm.
and I prefer it cold. Got nothing against warmth or heat or the whole being on holiday when it's hot and by the beach and by the pool, but I love the cold. And I just think it's great training weather, and I think we learn a lot from it. I think that it chills people out. I think when it gets too hot, people start to get a certain way, etc. They start to get a little bit busy in their heads. I really appreciate the cold, and I love a white Christmas. Unfortunately, even though the climate Nazis and the climate sycophants, they're obviously, a lot of them are genuinely concerned about the climate, and a lot of them are just nuts. But the reality is that you and I, being very similar age,
Mm.
we know that growing up, we would potentially get a white Christmas, and that
Yeah,
hasn't really happened
not since the
for like a
90s.
long time. Yeah, right, exactly. So we know that that was like a thing, and now it's kind of like it's going to be 12 degrees and wet, and you're like, that's not okay. That's not okay at all. So I mean, maybe the climate is shifting forward. No one ever said that climates don't change, but yeah, no, great to have you as always, mate. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm doing absolutely great. Very blessed. And we're very lucky people. So live and direct from Tenconi Towers, let us begin, my brothers and sisters, with the not so quick fire round as we discussed just how insane and confusing the world is increasingly becoming, before tackling head on the main issue that's presented itself in the last 7 days. No points or prizes for guessing who the culprit once again is. Islamist terror strikes again. We're going to get into that. But first and foremost, we're going to deal with the necessary bits and pieces. But before any of that, do you like my hat, Father?
I love it. We should definitely get more of those out and about. Make Britain great again.
I've stuck a comment. I've stuck a link in there for those of you watching on Instagram. I've stuck a link into the shop. It's Turning Point UK that sells these caps, and they're fantastic quality. They do the hybrid flag, so that's the St George's with the Union Jack, or you can get it just with the Union Jack. You can put that order in on the store, and they're just great quality. I love the color as well, and they stand out as well. There's been a few people who tried to replicate it. I don't know whether they've cut corners or not, but it is the original Make Britain Great Again cap. So I put that in the Instagram link comments rather, and I've also put it on the comments in the main from Facebook. I think I've done that as well. And I think, yeah, the app's doing its thing. So it's kind of put that wherever. Look, if you order now, you're going to get it before Christmas, right? I guess if you order it now, you're going to get it before Christmas. So, and what better gift, right? Especially if you've got like a woke uncle or auntie, because every family's got that now, right? That's families are completely splintered, parishes are splintered, life is splintered, everything's splintered, which kind of tees us up nicely to talk about our first story. But everything's fractured now, and for those of you who are believers, the devil's plan, and Father can back me up here, the devil's plan is to turn man against his brother, to turn man against each other. That's his plan, right? It's not a horned beast that emerges from the ocean, from the sea. It's us. It's within us. It's pride. It's gluttony. It's narcissism. It's a lack of charity. It's all these things, right? So every family now is going to have one of these individuals, probably even one of the trans goblins. So what better way than to stand up for your country and by definition for your faith than saying, right, I think we should make Britain great again, and let's start a discussion over Bucks Fizz or the dinner table, and obviously keep it peaceful, you know, because they're going to get very, very agitated by the hat. They just are, because they don't know what you mean. What do you mean make Britain great again? Britain's already great. And obviously you can't reason with that. So you just stick this in front of them and we will have a very happy Christmas. So jump on the team for the big win, guys. Get on the hat vibe and get yourself over to the merch store. Make Britain great again. Now, first up, we have a man who has been jailed for tweeting. Everyone knows the main event when it comes to tweeting things in the heat of the moment, which was last summer during the unrest. And Lucy Connolly is a big name. It's the proverbial, they got 3 years. Like if someone gets 6 months in Britain, you serve half. So if someone gets 4 months or 6 months, they're out in a few weeks, right? But when you get years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and all of it, everyone's like, oh, oof, you know, you don't want that. No, you don't want to go to jail for years. And this is what happened to Lucy Connolly. So she got a few years. Wayne O'Rourke and Peter Lynch, God rest his soul, who's no longer with us. These people got like 2, 3 years, whatever. There's another example of this madness that's happened, which is being added to the stage now. Let me know, Father, when you see that, because last week your system was running faster than mine. It should be coming up now, guys.
Jailed for 18 months for 2 anti-immigration tweets made after Christmas market car attack that were viewed just 33 times.
Yeah, can you do this this one as well? So this is a guy. So this like most people,
to the police by Yarwood's own brother-in-law, who he did not get on with. The case has drawn comparisons with Lucy Connolly, the 42-year-old wife of a Tory councillor from Northampton, who was jailed after she called for people to set fire to asylum hotels in the wake of the Southport attack in July 2024. Siobhan Lindsay, prosecuting, said Yarwood's extremely unpleasant posts had the potential to trigger disorder at one of 3 high-profile migrant hotels in Bournemouth, Dorset, near where he lives. His barrister argued that posts had 33 views between them and were the impotent rantings of a socially isolated man that had no real world. I assume the next word there would have been impact.
Yes, right. So look, guys, there is some nuance here. If somebody goes on Twitter tonight and they've got 100 billion followers and they say something, which obviously I'm not going to say because I'm not an idiot, and let's just say that they say that with regards to a certain demographic, right? Whatever. Red apples, yellow bananas, whatever, right? Oranges. They say that about that particular demographic. And let's just say 2 days later, there's 100 trillion views and 100 billion likes, and someone has actually gone and done it. Now, that's problematic, isn't it? Because the individual that said it did tapping from behind a keyboard, right? Then it was put onto a screen. It fed through the algorithm. They hit send. Right, that's one way of saying things. That's not the same as meeting with colleagues somewhere and planning a terrorist attack, for example. But the way the government would frame it is, right, you said it, you incited it, you did it. That's exactly the same. Like the IRA used to meet in pubs and they would talk about what they were going to do, how they were going to kill British politicians. and harm civilian life. Obviously, there's very clear lines with regards to designated targeted attacks in war, and then there's this slope where it's like, right, that's terrorism. So this guy has put some, probably with the most Mickey Mouse X account, has put something up, as Father's just read out. Again, it doesn't really matter. It got 33 views. This guy's, so the process, he's been arrested. His brother-in-law has ratted him out for tweets. And these tweets, potentially, I don't know the details, I won't lie to you, but anti-immigration, it's the same stuff, right? Whatever. There's context to it. It's been viewed 33 times. This guy been ratted out by his brother-in-law. So that family is now splintered and fractured forever. There's no cut. Absolutely, he can forgive him all he wants. That's absolutely fine. But that's done forever, and rightly so as well. Like, that's absolutely, you can forgive him, but that's absolutely awful, right? Because people do genuinely get killed by Islamists in British prisons. And we've got this example, as Father rightly says, it's been viewed 33 times. Why on earth would that be anything like, not even a knock at the door or a phone call or an email from the police? Why would any action be taken whatsoever? And then to be given an 18-month sentence. So he's coming out in 9 months' time. Right. When you go to prison in Britain, your bills keep coming, your mortgage, everything keeps going, but your income stops. And you it's potentially much harder to become employed and for that income stream to continue. Father, let me hand over to you. What do you make of all this? 18 months in jail for a tweet that got viewed 33 times.
This is shocking. I'm just reading about some of his other tweets. Walking for ages and not hearing a word of English. He also wrote, asylum seekers outside the hotel staring at young college girls. He's clearly a man who is concerned with what's going on in his area. I don't like how they're saying, oh, I apologize, and the tweets were odious and this, that, and the other. No, they're pretty straightforward. There was one tweet where he did say, what was it? That you need to burn them to the ground, he said, about the migrant hotels. And then in another post, he said that British people need to gang together and start the slaughter. Now, he said, head the migrant hotels first and then head to the MPs' houses and to Parliament. Now, I'm laughing because this is clearly, it's not serious. I don't think he's actually inciting violence. I don't think he's genuinely saying to his small number of followers, let's go and burn down MPs' houses. He is expressing how angry he is that foreign invaders are allowed into our country to rape our daughters. That's an understandable issue for any man to be upset about. I think he's obviously rage posting. I don't think anyone should go to jail for rage posting. I don't think anyone should go to jail for words. I think it's despicable that his brother-in-law is the one that dobbed him in. I think he needs a slap. I don't know what the relationship's going to be like with his sister now. That's awful, breaking apart a family like that and potentially putting your brother-in-law's life in danger because, as you pointed out, Nick, these Mohammedans are wild in prison. They will kill you if they think you don't like them. And this man clearly doesn't like the Mohammedan invasion, so he's at risk now of death, all for having a few angry tweets. It's insane to me that the police will even bother knocking on your door for an angry tweet, never mind arrest you, charge you, and then you get prosecuted by our two-tiered system. It's bonkers that rapists are allowed out because it's part of their culture, these Mohammedans, whereas people who are tweeting about them are the ones getting locked up. What is going on in our... It's getting to the point where the words that he's saying are actually going to be called. Like, someone is genuinely going to say, let's go burn down these migrant hotels. Someone's genuinely going to say, let's go after the MPs and where they live. Because people are getting sick and tired of their daughters being raped, and the judiciary and the legislative all being complicit in not only covering it up, but arresting those who take issue with it. It's evil.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree. And the thing which, look, guys, we're all so sick of this, right? We literally are so sick. We're sick of the reports. We're sick of the waste of money, the waste of time, the impact on psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. It's crushing. And that's what comes out of this. Two things. One, a man, not a woman, a man has ratted out his brother-in-law over tweets. How effeminate and disgusting. Like, if you've got a problem with him, and let's say
Mm.
you're a centrist, or maybe you're far left extremist, whatever, wouldn't you just pull him to one side? I mean, I'm not saying do anything, but if you've got that much of a problem, then deal with it as a man and say to him toe to toe, look, I've got a real big problem with this. And then obviously, you know, pick your moment, because obviously, you know, men can behave in a certain way. But like, roll your dice, mate. But ratting him out to law enforcement, this is the point, he got 33 views. So that guy is now in prison. That family is now, by definition, split forever, irreparably, because of some guy basically did something incredibly effeminate, incredibly anti-masculine, shall we say. So unfortunately, the horror and the outrage is fair, but the reality is that it's like, you know, stop the roundabout. Yeah, stop the roller coaster. I want to get off. Like, what on earth has happened here? You mentioned about you brought in illegals and, you know, women. I've timed this next slide, guys. Take a look at this. So we've got an asylum seeker charged. We're not going to spend long on this, guys, because I did all this last week with Father. There's a pipeline now coming through. So getting arrested and having the evidence and the CPS doing their thing and charging you, that's not the same as a court case and a verdict. So obviously on the right, we're now terrified to say anything until we've got bulletproof evidence, right? So we've got another asylum seeker charged with abducting and raping a 15-year-old girl while living in a migrant hotel. Cool. So we know that that isn't a guilty plea, or that he's been found guilty. So, for example, if it's a guilty plea, it's slam dunk. Or if he says not guilty and then he's found guilty, it's slam dunk. Here's the thing. We don't need to know whether he's guilty or not. We don't need to know the outcome or what his plea is. We've got the article there. Yet again, another specifically asylum seeker, an illegal immigrant. They're not fleeing war in France. They're coming here illegally on a boat. And Soft Touch Britain is saying, right, well, you're here on the shore. So by definition, if you're a rapist or a murderer, or if you have malintent on our Christian brothers and sisters, by definition, you're an asylum seeker, right? It's absolute insanity. It doesn't matter how many of these reports come out. You will see, showcased by myself and the Patriots and my team, no different from Dover on Saturday. It's right there on my timeline. There is a video clip where we are confronted in Dover by about 20 or so of the trans goblins and the feminists and the weirdos, blue head or otherwise, the lefties, the Marxists, and then there's a little call out for Antifa, who think they're essentially a militant. They think they're a militant terrorist organization. They will be designated a terrorist organization. Then they're all going to jail, hopefully for the rest of their lives. But there's this little mixture of these black bloc goblins, the trans goblins, and the feminists. They've decided they want a peace as well. So trust me, this is all bleeding somewhere. So we face off to them, and they've got their drums and their chants, and they are told, they are instructed through their training, which, by the way, they meet up to choreograph and to rehearse over. When they face off, you bang the drum and you say the same exact, continually, never-ending chant. Refugees are welcome here, and Nazis, you're not welcome here, or whatever, etc. And that's available on my X timeline and my Facebook timeline and my Instagram timeline there. Now, guys, these people want open borders, and they're saying that the people arriving on dinghies and who are in our hotels are refugees. They're the good people. It's right there. Asylum seeker charged with abducting and raping 15-year-old girl whilst living in migrant hotel. Now, I'll hand over to you, Father. How do you reason? Again, you're clergy, I'm not. Let's involve the church here. How do you reason with that mindset, with that mentality? Because we can talk an awful lot about forgiveness, which obviously you and I started this last week, and we're going to keep going month after month. We're going to keep going about how our faith has been bastardized and corrupted to suit the liberal agenda. But how do you reason with that mindset? The people on the left and in the middle, centrists at street level, and when they go to vote, like the Green Party have got Zach Polanski in place. The guy's come back from Calais and he's saying we need more immigrants. And then on Question Time, outed himself by saying he doesn't want to be the person wiping anyone's backside. So the Greens, the Liberals, Labour, even the Tories, they're all up for it. More and more migrants. Well, hang on a minute. The last government is Labour. The one before that was Tory. So clearly people are voting for these policies. They are voting for open borders. They are voting to bring in people who are going to rape our women and children. Father, help me out here. What do we do with these people that behave like this and think like this?
Oh, my mic was muted. I don't know if that came through. Sorry.
It's all right.
Sound is back. So the point here is that these people, these liberals, these lefties, these whatever you want to call them, who are complicit in enabling the rape and murder of our young girls, the people who want us to have open borders and therefore want to invite the invader in, the people who try to silence us and shut us down at every approach they get, and try to demean Christianity and try to segregate white Britons. These people need to be removed from every position of power and influence. And so on a political level, that means voting them out. But it also means removing them from places like academia, from schools, any position of power and influence. And I think we need to embrace cancel culture. We need to take their own weapons and use them against them. I learned this through what happened to Charlie Kirk. When a good Christian father and husband gets killed and people celebrate his murder, there's no word for that other than evil. These people are evil. And we don't want evil people in any position of power or influence. We don't want them teaching our children. We don't want them anywhere near civil society. Now, they're welcome to their views, as dark as they are. They're welcome to their free speech. But they've been telling us for years there are consequences to our speech. If someone is celebrating the murder of a friend of ours, then we need to call their boss, get them fired. That's what they do to us. We need to. They set up cancel culture. I think we need to embrace it. I think we need to turn it back against them, and they'll soon regret it. The people that are helping these murderers and rapists sin, they all need to be cancelled from any position of any importance, anywhere. We've got to get them out, get them all out. We need to take over. We need to get you into office. We need to get good Christians into positions of power and influence and take the evil libtards out for the sake of our country.
You heard it here live and direct from Tenconi Towers, ladies and gentlemen. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's right. We got this. We've got to get rid of them. They've got to go. The people who hold power that have subversive intent on our Christian brothers and sisters and on our Christian land, Britain, they've got to go. And the only way to do that is to replace them democratically, safely, peacefully, morally, ethically, lawfully, is to replace them. And that means you have to put in the hard yards to win your seat in a general election. So if that still is not understood, then someone somewhere along the line is going to have to, I don't know, put it in the comments or something, because obviously I'm going to keep saying it, but it's been 18 months now of the same rhetoric from myself. You've got to pick a political party, you've got to join that party, and then you have to put your name forward to stand for that party, and then you have to allocate a certain amount of time per week to campaign for the people in that community along the lines of what the party that you've chosen is talking about. In the case of UKIP and my leadership, and under my leadership and with my vision, that is mass deportations and remigration of those people who do not belong here in Britain. It is a slam dunk. It is easy if you put the work in. It is easy if you lower the fists and understand that the only way this wins, that we win and this works, is if we get political, guys. That's how you take the country back. Next up, there's a guy in the comments who said, I don't want to pick on him. There's a guy in the comments whilst we load up this next slide.
Is it M?
Saying
Because if it's M, let's pick on him.
And I don't know. I haven't read what, but yeah, there's a guy. Is it Kane? Is that your name? You're saying you've got a trans child, mate. If your name is Kane and you're a male, sorry, and you're saying you're a father, you failed, mate. Like, I take your vote and get lost. I don't care. You need to have a word with yourself. There is no such thing as a trans child. There is something called child abuse and enabling all of this absolute nonsense. So I wish you all the very best, but I'm sorry, but that really grates. Like, there's no such thing as a trans child, but there is child abuse. Right. Next up,
comments, just want to say a quick thank you to Kerry Knock, who said the next vote is the most important vote of our lives, because she's absolutely spot on there. It's so important that people get out and vote, and especially for you, vote for Nick, vote for UKIP, because if you don't vote, you have no say in the matter. The whole country is going to go to pot if we don't. And I just, while I'm on the comments, Nick, if you don't mind, I want to point out this M guy, because there's always one idiot. Every week there's an idiot, and they always get me riled up. But he said, what about the European and British invaders in Australia and USA? They're still there to this day, taking the land of the natives by raping their women. Like, this is a stupid argument. I'll tell you why it's stupid. Because firstly, he's admitting that the people coming into Britain are there to rape and pillage, right? So he's on the side of the rapists, which is just horrible. But secondly, this is the problem. Yeah, so people from Britain went across to the Americas and conquered America. We won. Our ancestors fought and we won that fight. We claimed this land and we built a society where the Indians were just eating each other, being cannibals and being barbaric. We civilized this land of America. Our ancestors did. That's a good thing. But we fought and we won the fight. The problem is what we're having now in Britain is that the invaders are being invited in. And so there's not even a fight. We don't get the chance to win. That's the problem. But it is interesting that you're agreeing that they are coming in and the raping and the pillaging. And so you're taking the side of the rapists. Not a good side to take.
You know what's so funny about the left wing dogma, the left wing mindset about colonialism, is their argument is the West, our ancestors, we went and did what we did. We sailed, we discovered, we conquered, we civilized, we did all. I don't need convincing. We did. It is what it is. If you want to take up arms and fight back, all's fair in love and war. It's called bloody histories for a reason, right? Like, if you want to fight back, guys, go for it. Here's the thing about this guy in left-wing dogma. They go on and on and on and on about colonization, and then meanwhile we're being invaded. We're being invaded by illegals. We're being invaded by Islamists. We're being invaded by the Islamic Caliphate. And then we say to the left, right, okay, fine, let's just say you're right. Fine. So in other words, these guys have all got to go. We're saying, actually, we'll only be sending some of them home. Like, as conservative, as socially conservative people, we're saying we're going to be mass deporting and remigrating an awful lot of them. But by your logic, by lefty logic, we should send all of them back. And then, of course, they would say, no, because you deserve everything you're getting in the West now because of, and then they'll list the last 3, 2, 3, 4, 500 years. So again, we come back to our favorite junction. What do we do with this liberal, centrist, and lefty as well, sometimes even extreme lefty, commie mindset? As Father has said already, you can't reason with it. It's only one thing to do with it. We've got to replace it, guys. The next slide is, I'll hand over to Father. This is a very interesting piece where, again, we should call out when Reform behave badly, then we should give them the spanking that they deserve. Can you read the slide for me, Father?
Reform welcomes porn star Bonnie Blue's support. Danny Kruger says party is not judgmental over voters and wants all support we can get. Interesting, isn't it? Because they were judgmental over Tommy Robinson's support, but they're not judgmental over a porn star support. What does that tell you about Reform's values? degenerates.
I
That's what it
just,
tells you.
I just, it is absolutely, is absolutely beyond. I'm struggling now. So, right, right. Help me out here, Calvin.
Bonnie Blue should not
Danny
be in the public
Kruger.
eye at all. People should not be promoting her. They should be talking about her. She should be nowhere near public. She needs to go off, be sent off to a nunnery or an asylum, right? She needs to repent of her disgusting life, and she needs to find Christ and find salvation, because she's heading towards damnation. But the worst thing about it is she's dragging other people with her. So she influences young girls on TikTok and Instagram, and the young girls she tries to promote. It's evil, it's demonic, and it needs to stop. And so a party like Reform, who claims to be conservative, and Danny Kruger claims to be the conservative of the most conservatives, cannot stand there and say, "Oh, well, we don't judge," and encourage her support at the same time as not allowing the support of genuine patriots. It's that two-tiered nonsense that we see in the Conservative Party, two-tiered nonsense we see in the Labour Party. We're now seeing it from Reform. It's Bonnie Blue is everything that's wrong with our society. That sexual deviancy, that degeneracy, that debauchery, that it's just wicked. It's subverting our very culture, and it's none of it's good. It needs to go. Bonnie Blue needs to go. We don't need to see any more Bonnie Blue or any more Bonnie Blue like women. They all need to be sent back to the nunnery, quite frankly. But for Reform, they need to get their act together and say, well, we don't support that. We don't support pornography. We don't support prostitution. And we want to see an end to OnlyFans. That would be a good conservative message to put out. But Danny Kruger wants every vote he can get, including the degenerate ones.
So my first response was, I don't track and trace Christians within well, Reform, or because a lot of them are crossing the floor, obviously, but between Reform and the Conservatives, I don't track and trace. But I'm pretty sure that Danny is I might have got this wrong, so help me out here, but isn't Danny one of the self-confessed Christians? Isn't he one of the ones who will bang the Christian? I mean, look, everyone's now talking about Christianity and mixing it. Not just
Danny.
talking about the faith, but yeah, right.
Yeah,
Is he the one I'm
Danny
thinking
Kruger.
of? He's
I
an
know
out
him
and
to be
out
a
Christian.
Yeah, he is a Christian. And it's funny that Reform launched their Christian, what was it, membership or whatever, a few days before this as well, which is just ironic, isn't it, really? On the one hand, they're like, look, we're Christians too. On the other hand, they're like, yeah, porn, OnlyFans, prostitution, way.
Yeah. I mean, so that's the first thing. So Danny is basically someone who is like, I'm a Christian. Hi, I'm a Christian. I'm a church going Christian, right? And he specifically has, again, it just annoys me so much. Like he's kind of said, yeah, cool. So Bonnie Blue, or everyone obviously knows who she is. So she's a whore. And if you're a single mother and you're living in a part of the world and you have nothing, let alone education, and you find an establishment, red light district, and that is how you survive, then, as Father will back me up on, we pray for these people, and these people need help. They need help. Like, again, we need the nunneries back. We need, when we talk about putting Christianity back on the front line again, we need, this is exactly what those who are ordained should be doing. It's not just that, I don't believe it's just the delivery of the sacraments. I know what the orders are from Rome. I don't know about the Anglican Church. In fact, I don't care, because it's the Church of England's joke in terms of its management. But this is what it's all about, right? These girls need help. Now, that's different for a woman who's trying to work her way out of that horrible, toxic life. And I really feel for them. And under my government, or anyone who was homeless or needed help, everything would be provided for. We can end the pain and the suffering on so many levels. This woman is the other end of the spectrum. She's like, yep, I'm married. Yep, I'm a feminist. Yep, I'll do what I want. Yep, I'm not sorry. I'm not repentant. This is exactly what we should be doing. This is the byproduct. This is the end result of feminism, i.e., being a whore. That's the end result. It's like, oh, that's an ideology, or that's a train of thought, that's a mindset. Well, hang on a minute. Where does that mindset end, and where does that train of thought end? And what about that ideology? Where does that end? Look at history. Certain ideologies, they started off as let's off the top of my head, I don't know, the Cristero Wars in Mexico in the 20s. Some guy came in, the president of Mexico, and again, you can help me out, Father, with timeline, but he came in and with left-wing ideas and dogma, he said, you know what, I want to make Mexico not Catholic, which it was very, and I want to make it really secular and liberal. So he started to burn the churches down, and he started to persecute Christians, Catholics, and of course, there's the famous story of, and I forget the guy's name, which is awful, I should remember it, but there was this boy who got captured and they cut the soles off of his feet and he was asked to walk to his own grave, and then all he had to do was renounce our Lord and Savior. He refused to, and in recent decades that boy has been canonized as a saint. His name will come back to me. So we know that imagine that president in Mexico at that time who is like, yeah, I've got these, I'm not going to call them left wing, I've got these secular liberal ideas, and it's all about freedom and it's all about choice. And you see how clever it is. But then ultimately, it is going to be fascistic or persecutory or oppression in orientation to another group. Now, obviously, if that other group is toxic and evil, then obviously it kind of is what it is. But we never, ever see that. Bonnie Blue is the end result of women saying we want to vote. Now, bear with me. Women said we want to vote, we're oppressed. The end result of that is Bonnie Blue. Again, go back to my analogy. She's not in really bad trouble. She's in dire straits. She's now turned to prostitution. She's also got kids. I want to save that woman. I want to save that girl. Bonnie Blue isn't that. She's saying, I can do what I like with my body. You can't stop me or do anything about it. And I'm going to behave this way. And it's good. It's great. And I've got a huge platform and you guys are all just going to take it. Well, surely we've got to go to source, Father. The beginning of that mindset, the beginning of that, of these actions, of that behavior, presuming that she's not a paid agitator from the Middle East, from Qatar, which is very, very, lots of people take Qatari money. Lots of people take different money from different intelligence agencies. We all know that. It's part of politics. It's part of life. It's damned is what it is, but it's part of life. So maybe she is a paid agitator. But if she's not, surely, back to you, Father, is this the end result, the end product of feminism?
It absolutely is the end product of feminism, unfortunately. It's the work of the devil. The argument that women need to be sexually empowered is quite the reverse of the truth, in that the sexual act is something that happens between a married husband and a married wife, which is a lifelong, indissoluble union. And it's an act that opens that couple up to being blessed by God with children. When you take that act out of marriage and you introduce it into prostitution, as this whore has done, you're removing God from the situation and you're bringing money into it. That is evil. Mammon is the root of all evil. This is biblical. So these harlots do need to be reprimanded. And you're right that some women find themselves stuck in an awkward situation and they need help out of it. That's our job, to help them out of it. But people like Bonnie Blue are not those women. She is promoting it, encouraging it, subverting our culture to make it seem normal. And you know, it could be foreign intervention, of course. It probably wouldn't be Qatar. It'd probably be Israel, this kind of foreign intervention. But whether it is or isn't, it needs to be stopped. We can't allow it in our country. I was surprised to hear she's still in her 20s, because she looks at least mid-30s. But that's what something like this will do to your body. It will rot your body as much as rotting your soul. It needs to be avoided at all costs.
It's very well put. And I just want to say to Danny Kruger and to Reform, Bonnie Blue knows nothing about politics, and she's just randomly decided to endorse Reform. So that it stinks to high hell. But again, parking all of that and just coming back to what we know, why would you ever accept that? The purple tidal wave can't be stopped. Christ is king. We're taking our country back. It's an explicitly Christian party with explicitly Christian policies. It's very simple. We're taking it all back. We're not asking anymore. We are indeed taking. So eventually Bonnie Blue gives her endorsement of me in 4 years' time, when we're doing what we need to do in the polls, etc., etc. You ignore it. You don't do anything. You ignore it. This is not news. Go away. Reform took it, ran with it, and celebrated it. Or B, you go, right, listen, Bonnie, and you make a statement about it, or you tweet about it, because that's such as the modern world, and you go, look, Bonnie Blue, take that endorsement and get out. Get out. And until you're ready to say Christ is Lord, get out, because you are evil right now. Again, you're not going back to the girl who's trying to fight a way out, and she's got to earn some money for the kids, and she's got no family, no education, she's been mistreated. We want to save that girl, want to help that girl, but this isn't that. I'll say no more about it. Father, over to you. And this is something we touched on a few weeks ago about funding and about government grants, and I'm conscious of time as well. Would you read that GB News tweet out for me, please?
If we lose our churches, we lose the very soul and essence of our community. Conservative MP Sakib Bhatti asks Keir Starmer to reconsider the plans to cut £19 million from the listed places of worship scheme, which puts thousands of local churches at risk. Well, that's interesting to see the Conservatives actually standing up for local churches at risk. I'm like, wow, okay, they're actually getting their act together in a small way here. But yeah, it's interesting that there's £19 million that has been listed for this purpose, and the Labour Party wants to remove it, at the same time as putting another £10 million into protecting mosques. So on one hand, that again, they'll remove the support for churches. On the other hand, they'll put that money into mosques. They are actively working on our replacement as a Christian people.
The subject about financing, and people say like the Vatican's got more money than anything, and the Church of England's got more money than and King Charles again more money than anyone or anything. Look, all I want, it's kind of positive, but look, going back to where we were on the previous story, but I didn't finish my point. Because of guys like Calvin, because of guys like Father Robinson, because of clergy, and it's not the only name, there are other names standing up for at least the last, I've never actually asked him, but 4 or 5 years, as long as I've known him, certainly that timeline. But good men and women have stood up, not just calling out about two-tier policing, free speech, not just calling out about state corruption, obviously linking that to the vaccine and other things, but specifically about Christianity. And as soon as I was in post as COO at Turning Point, thanks be to God, October 2021, just over 4 years ago to the day, I never, ever shied away from it. Not when we were at street level, not when I was at a campus level, the stuff that you guys have seen that's gone viral, the stuff that you haven't seen that didn't go viral. The confrontation, it was never not an explicitly Christian message. As soon as you've got that platform, as soon as you've got that profile, guys, whether you're in media or whether you're in politics or journalism or whatever area you want to go into, but if you want to get involved in this fight back, it is a political fight back, but if you want to get involved, you don't hold back. There's ways of doing things, true, but you don't hold back. And look, if the Tories became super Christian overnight, if they stopped the boats overnight, if they became super Christian overnight, guess what? That's great. Thanks be to God. Now that is where pressure and lobbying and good men and women, linking this to my point, have stood up, and they've done it in the right way. There's ways of doing things. They've done it in the right way, and the government have gone, right, we're reading the room now, and there's millions of votes out there that we're going to get if we vote in line with these hardline, socially conservative Christian nationalists out there who are baying for our blood. These people don't want to lose power. So guess what? They're going to course correct. They're going to modify. So then they will ultimately course correct, because they want those votes. It's no different from what happened under the Blair years from 1997 to essentially 2007 to 2010 with the yellow blue alliance guys. The woke and DIE, affirmative action, political correctness, that was all coming through on steroids. We know where it comes from. Hollywood, the movies, our institutions, we know where it comes from. We know who the subversives are. Our institutions should not be left out of that, by the way, pushing their satanic agenda, whether it's lanyard wearing or whether it's going to any NHS hospital in Britain right now, and there'll be something up about Black History Month and about, if you're a racist, we'll kick you out. So I don't need to be told that. No, most people aren't racist. You don't need to be told. Tell that to the Arab supremacists, So, guys, it's really simple. It's really straightforward. We can put pressure on the establishment. So Reform have got a little bit of the establishment. The Liberal Democrats have got a lot. Labour have got a huge amount. The Tories still have a little bit. We can put pressure on them, but it's got to be done in the right way. And it's done in the right way, it's always done by a political party. It's not done by anything outside of that. So if you will think that the work we're doing at UKIP's it's being recognized up and down the country by our brothers and sisters, right? Everyone knows that. But if you think that the cabinet, if you think that actual government, not just the MPs, but the actual government, if you think they're not seeing what we're doing and the support that we've got, well, you're very much mistaken. So we've got to keep going. It's absolutely imperative that we understand the mission, that we keep going, and that we keep, and I'll close by saying this at the end, we keep supporting, but ultimately that support has got to turn into you standing for your chosen party, which is UKIP, standing as a candidate. Now, the next slide, we've got 2 protests coming up before Christmas Eve next week, which I want to say is Wednesday. Don't quote me on that. We've got 2. One is, quick look at the calendar, Wednesday. Yeah,
it is. Christmas Eve's on Wednesday.
Christmas Eve. Thanks be to God. Everyone's going to be in church. We're going to talk about that. So over to you, Father. What does that say on your screen?
Protect our children. Leave our kids alone. Richmond Theatre will be hosting a Drag Tales session where young children will be exposed to drag performer Tanya Lecoq. What? We will be protesting this horrifically inappropriate event on the 19th of December at 9:30 a.m. Meet. The location is the Richmond Theatre, 1 Little Green, Richmond, TW9 1JQ. That's on the 19th of December. I didn't realize what I was saying until I read it. That's really his name, and he's going to be reading to children. This is so inappropriate.
Yeah, sorry, mate. My bad.
No, I remember the last time we were out there campaigning against these awful drag queens wanting to read to children, and I asked the question, ask not why your children need to be read to by drag queens, but ask why drag queens are so keen to read to your children. And I got fired from the Royal Academy of Dance for asking that question. There are too many libtards who want to put paedophiles in front of kids, and it needs to end. They cannot reproduce, so they must what do they do? Recruit. So we need to stop them having the opportunity of doing so. It's wicked. Adults reading to children is a good thing. More men and women need to read to children, but as adults. Men as men, women as women. Not men dressed up as a scantily clad impersonation of a caricature of a woman. That is inappropriate. We used to know what was age appropriate. We used to know what was safeguarding. These things get thrown out the window in the name of diversity, inclusion, and equity, which just gives nonsense a free run at our kids, and it needs to stop.
There are 2 things that I learned from my campaigning at street level against Drag Queen Story Hour, hosted by the fantastic Turning Point UK and under the vision and guidance of our brilliant chief executive officer, a guy called Jack Ross. What I learned from campaigning against Drag Queen Story Hour were the 2 things that Father's just said, and I've been with him at street level several times, and other good people as well, aspiring politicians, community leaders, concerned citizens, and it's those 2 arguments. That's all you need with the whole drag queens reading to children. That's separate from the radical trans lobby and issues about Tavistock and puberty blockers. There was a big protest today in London about the government want to experiment on children. It gets worse and worse and worse. But specifically about the cult that came from Gay HQ, which is, I think, San Francisco in America. This drag queen, I can't even say it with this drag queen story hour, right? So I find myself outside of a pub in February of 2023, and Turning Point UK, I was obviously COO. They said, look, they said, as an organization, let's go after it. And I trust my CEO implicitly. And obviously I was really excited to do it. And from then until the autumn, give or take an inch of 2023, and we'd done, I presume, about 8 demos, and Calvin had come to several and spoken, and again, given up his time again, ordained clergy giving up their time to come and stand with the laity at street level, thanks be to God. And it's those two arguments. That's all you need. One, why on earth do children need to be read to by a homosexual male dressed like a whore? And then you go, and that you've worded it much better than me. Then you go, now ask yourself, why does a homosexual male dressed like a whore want to read to children? And then the circle is complete. That's it. And I didn't come up with that. I don't know whether Calvin did. I don't know whether someone else, but good people all across the world do great work against this absolute evil. But that's all you need, guys. So we're going to be protesting on Friday.
Another question is also, why do they never want to read in old people's homes to people that need company? Why do they never want to go and read to prisoners as part of the corporal works of mercy? Why is it always children that they want to read to? These are important questions to be asking.
Right. Again, I think there was two. So what was the first two you said? The first one was the full circle. So why ask not why children want to be read to by. Yeah, but there was another one on the other point you made too, didn't you?
Just prisoners and not elderly people, but just generally people in vulnerable positions who need people being read to. Why are they not doing that? Why are they only reading to children?
This is, as you rightly say, all good questions. It's just incredible. Working out arguments against far left totalitarian propaganda and against stuff that's maybe not left wing. I mean, it is left wing, but just evil is great because we can go to sleep going, right, cool. Once you understand something, you can deal with it, right? You can control it. You can deal with it. You can fight back against it, etc. But without that understanding, all it does is cause rage. All it does is cause outrage because we don't. That's what. When you understand something, people don't get mad. Like we might, but when you understand something, if something happens to you, I don't know, like guy drives along, you're on the sidewalk or whatever pavement and splashes you because there's a big puddle, and you're in your suit, you're gonna be absolutely seething, right? Of course you are, man, woman, beast, child. You're gonna be absolutely seething. Of course you are, but you also understand why it happened. And the guy, you also know that the guy or woman may not have actually known, may not have judged the depth of the puddle, right? So you're outraged, but you understood what happened. This is no different from what we're involved in, guys. Once you're done with the outrage and the anger, the solution is political. We must take back our institutions and we must start writing laws which start writing laws, banning things, making certain things need to be freer. Some things we need to let just be organic, and other things we've got to clamp down hard on them. You can't do that unless you're in government. You must return a majority of candidates. Your party must return a majority of candidates. So these aren't just slides, and we're not just, let's have a chat about this and let's get angry. Every single time, it's the same exact message. With our Make Britain Great Again hats on, guys, the solution, drum roll, is political. We've got to declare war on the perverts and the deviants. Now, less along the lines of perversion and deviance and more onto something that is absolutely gut-wrenching, and it is to do with Portsmouth City Council or Portsmouth County Council. They have written to their tenants, so people are, I presume, haven't got much money, and they have gotten onto a housing list and they now have subsidized rent or whatever you want to call it, and they're living in council accommodation. The Portsmouth City Council have written to its tenants saying, if you've got a Christmas wreath on your door, this is not okay, and we're going to fine you, and or we're going to come and take them down. Is there any chance you can read what's on the screen there, Calvin?
Absolutely. Killjoy Council bans Christmas door wreaths and threatens to fine those who leave them up. Portsmouth City Council sent out hundreds of letters warning their tenants not to engage in the festivities. The audacity. Here with a letter. Personal property at Broome Close, Section 41, Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act, 1982. It's come to our attention that you are using the communal area to keep personal items such as a Christmas wreath, a non-standard door number, and a Christmas decoration. I spoke to you in order to explain that you will need to remove these items. And then it goes on. You can see a picture just underneath there. There's a door with a number and a Christmas wreath, for goodness sake. And that's not even in the communal area. It's on the door. It doesn't go into the communal area. They are just being Jobsworths, antichrist Jobsworths. Do you think they would have the audacity? Do you think that they would dare say to a Mohammedan, you need to take down your whatever strange Mohammedan things they have up, or anyone of any other faith? Of course they wouldn't. It's only Christ they ever dare persecute. They wouldn't dare with any of their diversity, inclusion, and equity quotas do it to anyone else of any other faith. It is an active replacement of Christianity in a Christian country. Portsmouth City Council should be ashamed of themselves. Whoever sent this letter out needs to repent, and whoever received it needs to ignore it and take them to court. Section 41, my back foot.
He's the man, as far as I'm concerned. I don't need to add anything else to it. We're all very upset. I'm very upset. We're taking our country back. The solution's political. I might just record it and just stick it on a loop somewhere, just so the nation can hear it, like just Nikki T, just saying it over and over and over again. There is a solution, guys. Let's take it back. Some people, you can use the word revenge. This is not the right word to use. And also, we know philosophically that this ends badly. It's not about revenge. It's about justice. So let's be absolutely clear with our language. It's about justice. Speaking of justice, the disciples of Christ aren't happy about this outrageous and this egregious nonsense. Basically the council that views human beings not as human beings, but as tenants and as people that pay for their right to live in their probably grubby council funded, provided for apartments or whatever. Like, life's hard enough, right? And then they get a letter saying, take that wreath down. And again, are we ever going to get answers? It doesn't matter how many times we call them or write to them. We're never going to get answers. We know what it is. Father's just said it. It's anti-Christian bias. It's anti-Christian sentiment. And it always comes from a place of left-wing dogma, left-wing doctrine, left-wing mindset, left-wing ideas. Nothing's changed for over 2,000 years. So the disciples of Christ, God bless them, thanks be to God, they're going to start protesting outside Portsmouth County Council offices in Guildhall on Monday from 3 p.m. That's what we're going to do, guys. And we say to just spread the word. If you live in Southampton, or if you live in Portsmouth, or I don't know, up as far as Winchester, maybe over to Dorset way. Guys, if you live within a 50-mile radius, all right, fine, maybe not 50. If you live within a 25-mile radius of Portsmouth, and you can somehow come on, guys, pretty much everyone stopped working this weekend, right? Christmas Eve's on Wednesday. I appreciate some people are still working. If you're part of the work from home brigade, if you can somehow bring your wife, don't worry about childcare, bring them all. Come and say hello to the disciples of Christ on Monday, the 22nd, mustering from 3 p.m. So get there 2:30, 2:45, get yourself parked up, come and say hi. Numbers matter, voices matter. This is absolutely disgusting. Can you imagine the same level of persecution towards any other faith in Britain? Like what? Christmas wreaths on a door. They're laughing at us, guys. So get down there. We won't. I know we're both angry about that.
If anything,
down there,
the council should be giving people wreaths to put on their doors. They should be going around presenting wreaths to people to make it look beautiful, to make it look Christmassy, and to remind people that this is a Christian nation, for goodness sake.
Now, as I said, guys, the not so quickfire round has very much come to a close. I am always incredibly selfish with my time with Father, and I'm going to continue to be incredibly, because I only get him once a week and he's very much in demand. So we are going to jump straight to the main event of the week, which is, I guess it's actually the shortest piece, because nothing is going to change until you put in place a political party in a here comes the loop, guys, in a first past the post system, until you put a party who is going to achieve a majority and therefore get to form a government and form this thing called a cabinet where they make all of the decisions and control all of the money. until that happens, this next segment is going to keep on happening. Since World Trade Center 2001, there have been over 44,000 terrorist attacks. 90% have been claimed in the name of radical Islam, in the name of jihad. It is in their book, Kill the Infidel, where you find them. I am absolutely sick to death of the standard Islamic narrative. That's right. It's called SIN, Standard Islamic Narrative, and also Islamic Apologetics. I am absolutely sick of it, guys. I am referring to the responses which you can find very easily in any comment section on any social media application with regards to the defense of what happened on Sunday in Australia or rather on Bondi Beach. And it goes something like this. The two guys, they're not Muslim, they're Mossad agents. The two guys, yeah, they might be Muslim, but they're nothing to do with Islam. It's the same repeat offense, the same insult to our intelligence over and over again. I think I'm 99% certain it was an openly Jewish festival. It was an openly Jewish gathering. These two guys have got these weapons, which are clearly, as far as rifles go, they are very powerful with incredible sight on them as well. I know Bondi. I've been to Bondi. I don't know exactly those steps and that bridge they were on, but I know roughly the layout. That's a long way. I mean, whatever. These guys are trained. Point being, they're trained. They know what to do, and they've gone to a specifically Jewish festival, and they've opened fire. I think the death toll was at 16 last night. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Father, over to you. What's the mindset and the ideology behind? Again, we don't know the facts, right? Wasn't one of them taken out, and the other one, I guess, is going to have electrodes stuck to his testicles now, and he's going to obviously they're going to get everything out of him, right? And good. Guantanamo Bay, absolutely. Like same with Axel Rudikabana last summer. I want a full confession. I want the mindset and I want the ideology. Are these guys psychopaths, or is there an ideology and a mindset behind the killing?
Firstly, we should try and keep the victims in our prayers. Anyone who is a victim of terrorism like this, they need our prayers. It's awful that this is happening. Mohammedanism, wherever it goes, spreads terror, spreads death. It is a death cult. Unfortunately, this is another country where guns have been pressured out of the hands of the people. So good guys don't have them, bad guys do. Never a good situation to be in. It was good to see that some civilians got involved, and I saw a video of one tackling one of the assailants and getting the gun out of his hands. That's always good. Men standing up, being men, helping their society, helping their community. That's a good thing. But there's nothing that I can add other than Islam is wicked. It is evil. This is what it produces. This is the fruit it produces. And Nick, I'm going to have to shoot and leave you to it. I'm 7 minutes over. I've got people waiting for Vespers. So I'm going to go and pray, but I'll be praying for you, Nick. I'll be praying for everyone that's watching. I'll be praying for the victims in Australia too.
Keep praying for us, Father. And again, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you. Now, guys, just bear with whilst Calvin signs off. We're very lucky to have him join us. It is blessed. You don't get much in the way of ordained clergy stepping up to the plate. You just don't. And it really does grind on me. It really does. Again, you've got Orthodox problems, you've got Anglican problems, and you've got Catholic problems. And the reality is that there are certain members of certain tribes who aren't allowed to get involved. They're not allowed to stand as candidates, and they're also not allowed to get involved. And here's the thing. We need clergy in post to deliver the sacraments and obviously to attend to the flock. We can't have them being distracted elsewhere. But if we had more priests coming through, then surely that, again, guys, it's pretty simple. More priests coming through, that frees them up, whichever denomination or church you're part of or you're with, for example. We need more people coming through. That frees them up. And then also we need to have a look at the rules that bind these people. For those of you in the know, if you're in the Roman Catholic Church, you aren't allowed to stand as a candidate. In Britain, you're not allowed to stand as a candidate. In terms of getting involved, maybe the Anglo-Catholic clergy can, but I know a lot of them can't. And when I say involved, I mean like as Calvin does, stepping up and joining at street level and being a voice and being heard and motivating and inspiring people, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I'm grateful to him. I'm really, really grateful to him. Not only is he a good guy, but also we don't have many voices like that, and we really do. You've got clergy and you've got laity, right? And we need clergy. We need clergy coming forward and standing up for us. It's very, very inspiring. It's very impactful, and it's very, very motivating as well. Now, I'm going to close up on the final segment. As Calvin rightly said, we need to be praying for the families and the relatives and for the souls also of those lives that were lost on Sunday. And here's the thing about the whole praying, like praying for these people and for their souls, their families, like 100%. Of course, of the Christian worldview, I agree. But I'm sure that we're all equally as outraged and as disgusted with what, again, has happened, guys. And that's why I asked him, again, it's very short in orientation because everybody knows his views and my views. But when I asked Father Calvin, like, are these psychopaths? And we draw a line underneath it and we say, right, evil exists and we'll say no more about it. It just needs to be destroyed. Or is actually, they are psychopaths, but actually this is a mindset. This is a mindset and an ideology. Most of you tonight are going to set an alarm. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning. You're potentially going to kiss someone you love goodbye, or you're just going to get on with your day if you're single. You're going to go to work. You're not going to upset your boss. You're going to tread carefully around the trans goblin so you don't get fired at work. You're going to tread carefully around what you do and don't say in your politically correct environment. You're going to avoid the people that you don't like, who are passive aggressive and all that other nasty, horrible, microaggressive, whatever the expression is nowadays. Your day tomorrow, patriots, has a certain form to it, as does your evening this evening. Like, you're going to clean your teeth, I hope, before bedtime. There is a routine set out before you. It's not necessarily an ideology, but it's a mindset. No one's going to pick up a knife or a gun, hopefully, this evening and do something irreparable that's going to land you in prison for the rest of your life. So does that make sense when I ask, what are these people doing? Is it organized? You know, like, is it thought through, and is it organized, and is it premeditated and planned, or is it just psychos just flipping out all the time and going, I know, I'll go and do this. It looks like terrorism. It sounds like terrorism. It is terrorism. If it's terrorism, it's one of two things. Either the person is clinically insane and they will plead not guilty based on being declared insane, and they'll be detained forever, but they won't go to prison. They'll go to a facility. And then the world scratches its head, as it does with an awful lot of these cases, and goes, well, maybe they cheated the system. Maybe they fooled us. So you've got two outcomes when it's terrorism. One is they're clinically insane. Two is that it's based on a mindset and an ideology. Mindset, ideology, one and the same thing, right? Something that's ingrained in them, which says, right, I'm going to go and do this. I don't care how heinous it is. I don't care how awful it is. I'm going to go do it. No amount of money. You couldn't pay anyone, right? There's 10 grand, go do this. There's 50 grand, go do that. It's so unlikely. Yeah, now it's possible if you put a gun to the wife and the children, obviously, again, it's so unlikely. I mean, if you're of the Christian worldview, you couldn't do it, right? You couldn't go and take the gun and your wife and child have got a gun to their head and then start killing innocent people. You just couldn't do it. Like, we wouldn't be able to do it. It's like we can't take our own lives. Our worldview is that we're God's property. We're not our own property. We belong to God. So if it's terrorism, this Bondi Beach incident looks like terrorism, sounds like terrorism. It is terrorism. If it's terrorism, this is pretty awful, right? This is evil, like the IRA, right? This is evil. Okay, fine. And you can use any other example you want, guys. If it's terrorism, it's evil. It's either psychopaths who basically get off on a not guilty because they're clinically insane, or it's fueled by a mindset. and an ideology. And what I'm saying to the Islamic community is, what is the mindset and what is the ideology? And what they repeatedly say, and you can see this in the comment section and via posts and via the Muslim Council of Britain and via Five Pillars and all these other jihadi type organizations, etc., etc. They always have this apologetics, this defense that it's nothing to do with Islam and that these people aren't Muslims. Right, well, hang on a second. My theory is either correct or it is not. If it's terrorism, and we can all agree that's terrorism, it's not lone wolf stuff. The statistics say that it's not lone wolf, lone gunman stuff. It is consistent, it is continual, it is organized. These people are incredibly well trained, they're incredibly well financed. It's terrorism. All right, okay, cool. So eventually the entire Islamic community worldwide goes, yeah, that incident, that's terrorism. And there's loads of others as well that's terrorist in orientation as well. Right. So either they're evil psychopaths, coming back to the two, if it's terrorism, they're either evil psychopaths or, and they get off on a not guilty, for example, maybe two different areas there, or it's driven by a mindset. It's driven by an ideology. So again, I say to the Islamic community, what's the mindset? What's the ideology? And they will say there is none. They're not Muslims. That's nothing to do with our book. That's nothing to do with our teachings. That's nothing to do with the mosque. It's like in Christianity, you've got scripture. Yeah, you've got scripture. Then you've also got the church. Then you've also got priests and bishops and cardinals. So you've got church teaching and you've also got scripture as well. So and then you've got mother and father. So there's all these different influences when you're raising your children, hopefully, thanks be to God, to be Christian, as I think we all should be. You've got the same argument in the Islamic camp, which is, look, they're not Muslims. It's got nothing to do with Islam. Yeah, it's terrorism, but it's got nothing to do with Muslims, and it's got nothing to do with Islam. It's got nothing to do with the sword. It's got nothing to do with their hatred of Jews and Christians. It's got nothing to do with the fact that they're professional victims who are taught this from birth, so they can get out of absolutely anything. Anytime you put anything their way that they don't like the sound of, they've got a little box of tricks where they go, right, well, actually, that isn't terrorism. Actually, that's freedom fighters who are expanding Islamism by the sword. And not that they would ever say that, of course, but let's take Hamas, for example. We all know the stats. And if you've got Muslim brothers and sisters, as in like, they're our brothers and sisters, right? Christians don't hate anyone. We're not allowed to do that. They will often say that terrorists are freedom fighters. Okay, that's really problematic, actually, because if they're killing unarmed, innocent civilians, that by definition is one of the key metrics to make you a terrorist, as well as psychotic and thoroughly evil. So look, I'll round up with regards to the situation as of Sunday evening, our time anyway, from Bondi. This isn't going to stop, guys. And there was another slide I was going to bring up. Some guy this week who is clearly Islamic. He's clearly a Muslim, and he's been detained for gun running and gun smuggling. There was a big video that went viral. There was a video that went viral. It was quite big, and I just think, Manchester, the Jewish synagogue, not so long ago, and you almost lose count, don't you? In Britain, you almost lose count of how many times this is going to happen, and you just kind of wonder to yourself, it's like, how on earth is the establishment ever, and I guess this is my point and where I'm going with this, how is the establishment ever going to sort this out, guys? Because the establishment has spent the last 40 plus years longer saying diversity good, inclusion good, equality good, mass immigration good, illegal immigration good, you shutting your mouth good, be tolerant good, left-wing fascism good. It's spent the last 40 plus years longer saying all these things are really good and really great. Now, and this has been going on for such a long time, the establishment understands, and its predecessors, so that's all of our previous leaders, our previous PMs, and people who were very, very impactful and very, very persuasive and influential within government. Typically, that would be within the cabinet. All of those people, you could probably there's probably about 40 or 50 names on that list, right? There's probably a list of like 30 or 40 or 50 names where you could point and that's the smoking gun, right? David Cameron's got to be on there. Tony Blair's got to be on there. Boris Johnson's got to be on there. Just in terms of how they've allowed for this situation that they've arrived at, which is they can't go back. They've told us diversity is good, inclusion is good, equity and equality. All of it's good. Mass uncontrolled legal immigration, it's all good. But you've also incorporated all of these rapists and rapist mindsets and murderers and murdering mindsets. You've also all this destruction and all of this satanic evil. You've incorporated all of that in with your rhetoric. Regardless, let's suspend disbelief and say that it's not all preordained. It's all left wing. It's all commie. Long march through the institutions. It's all left wing liberal nonsense. Let's just suspend disbelief and say that they just got it wrong. On that list of all the people that have allowed to allow for us to arrive at this situation where we're all living in fear. The taxpayer, the voter, we have the power, but we live in fear. Let's just suspend disbelief and say that it wasn't all premeditated and that they were just good people who just were very, very liberal, weak, emasculated, pathetic, all the same word as far as I'm concerned. Let's just suspend disbelief and say it wasn't premeditated. They're just good people and it's just backfired. How is the establishment? My question is, guys, how's the establishment ever going to get us out of this? Because they're all complicit. It's all on their watch. If you want your country back and if you want justice for Britain and for us and our girls, and you want to live in a safe environment again, you've got to replace the establishment with the new order. You've got to replace the establishment with the new regime. You can't convert them. You can't reason with them. And you can't play, well, do you know what? This new party that's coming in, they look all right. I don't like them and I don't like him, but they're the next best things. No, all that tripe was last summer. No, there has to be a new order and there has to be regime change. We have to replace the cancer, replace the toxic. And that is why I fight. That is why I am leader of a national party. That is why I changed our policies, our manifesto, the logo, and potentially even the name. There's a reason why I am here doing this. And I sat by throughout my 20s and my 30s, and then blessed was the situation with Turning Point. Becoming an activist is fantastic. I want to talk to you guys more about that. But there's a reason why all this is happening. Because the establishment and those who are queuing to get into Westminster are not up to muster. We've had that proven over and over again. So in relation to the 44,000 terror attacks, more than since 9/11, claimed in the name of radical Islam, in the case of Bondi Beach, when exactly is enough enough? And at what point do we say, right, well, enough is enough? What happens next? Here's that loop again. If you want your country back in a first past the post system, you must return a majority of candidates via your chosen party, led by your chosen leader. He then or she gets to form a government and this thing called a cabinet and start appointing the right people and to control the central pot of taxation and get to work on doing what you, the voter, put them in place to do. Take our country back. No diplomacy and no surrender. That's it, guys. Go to ukip.org and sign up. Take 10 minutes to sign up to become a member. Don't wait for 6 months. I'll see what Nick says in 6 months' time. There is no tomorrow. Don't wait in a year's time. Oh, I'm a member currently of other parties. I don't care. ukip.org. Sign up. Everything needs to be supported. Everything needs to be endorsed. Everything needs to be looked after and nurtured as well. You can't not be a member, guys. ukip.org. 10 minutes later, you're a member. There is a small vetting process. So when I say 10 minutes later, you're a member, that's not actually technically true. But presuming that you are in good standing, you will become a member. We need your support, guys. There are easily, by our calculations, 10 to 15 million Christians out there who are Christians, i.e. they are socially conservative in terms of their political mindset, behavior, attitudes and values. You can't be a Christian and be a liberal or a socialist or a Marxist or a communist. It's literally lying and deceiving in its most egregious. It's not possible. You don't have to be a frontline activist. You don't have to stand saying, I'm socially conservative with a banner somewhere. You don't have to have an X account, which you build to 200, 300,000 followers, demanding for illegals to be deported and being pro-remigration. No one's saying that. Let the people who want to be on the front line do that, but in quiet or over dinner, or when it comes to decisions being made by your school and the schooling of your children or within the home, you're socially conservative. If you're Christian, you're socially conservative. Oh yeah, 100%. There are at least 10, if not 15 million Christians in the country right now who are screaming out for my leadership and for my message. Go to ukip.org and judge me every single day. The rent is due every day on trust, loyalty, and respect. That goes for your commercial lives, your personal lives. That's this relationship between you and I as well. Don't delay. Go to ukip.org now, become a member, and judge me every day. And if you see me flip-flopping, or if you see me taking my time, or I'm not sure, that's the relationship over. The divorce is set. You guys don't trust me anymore. No problem. I already know that's not going to happen. The establishment and my enemies, they're going to have to take me out to stop me. ukip.org, become a member. The rent is due every day on trust. Trust me, if I founder, cancel your membership. And spread the good word. Spread the good word to your patriotic brothers and sisters. Spread the word in the parish and to your Christian brothers and sisters. UKIP has 6 missions. They are available on our website. You will find them when you become a member. 6 missions with regards to how we are going to take our country back. But we can't do it without your support. You have to become a member if you are going to support the party. You have to become a member if you're going to become a candidate. Now, I want to close by reminding you all of what the timeline looks like. On the right in Britain, we have been incredibly slow to the table, but because of good people standing up, marching, calling for rallies and bringing people together, that's all over now. And everyone now, arguably since 5 years ago, is awake, arguably. So first stage, you turn up to protests. You are an activist. You are a flag waver. You're someone who's bought a flag, assembled it, you turn up, you wave the flag. That is brilliant, guys. That is seismic compared to what happened in the noughties and in the 10s and in the last few years. So you're first and foremost a supporter. You've seen something, you've heard something, you like what you see and hear, you're a supporter. Then you start following, for example, myself on social media. Fine. You then become an activist, right? This is the first main stage. After that, why aren't you a member of the party? What's stopping you? Is it just that you don't know? Is it everyone else is a member, therefore I don't need to be? It doesn't work like that. Everyone, once you realize where your support lies, once you have actually become an activist, there's nothing stopping you, guys. You've got to become a member of your chosen party. And here's the last and final stage. Once you become a member of UKIP, you then put your name forward to stand as a candidate. And then in your area, myself, the team, the party will give you everything you need to win as many votes as possible, to win in your seat, in the general election, in your constituency, to help form a UKIP government at the general election, because that's how it works in our system. So you win, person A wins over here, person B wins over here, person C wins down here, and you count that up. And eventually, whether it's a lot or whether it's a small majority, you get to form a government, guys. It depends on how many votes the other parties get in our system. But the party with the most amount of votes, you get to form a government. The most amount of votes means you've won in your seat and you're standing with me in the Commons in 4 years' time. We want as many warrior knights in the Commons in 4 years' time, because then we've won the general election. You get to form a majority and you permit me, you give me the green light, the voter, to begin mass deportations and remigration. And we will, on everything that's holy, I swear, reinstate Christianity back into the heart of government. It's that simple, guys. It's ukip.org. There is no tomorrow. Good night. God bless. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Peace be with you all. Next week, Wednesday, Christmas Eve, I think we'll probably leave it for the week. The following week, guys, I'm good to go if you are. I can't wait. We've got some great numbers up here again tonight. A massive thank you for listening. Thank you so much for being part of this. I work for you. If you've listened to what I've had to say tonight, and it's time to join the team, it's time to join the family, it's time to become a member, it doesn't end there. Evangelize your brothers and sisters to UKIP's missions, to the 6 missions, to my leadership for taking back Britain and delivering justice to Britain and to our girls. Evangelize your brothers and sisters. Set boundaries with those people who refuse to be part of the mission. We're taking our country back, ladies and gentlemen.